Have you heard about the saying, it is not about what you know, but who you know? Now imagine your biggest and toughest goal. Imagine the most painful of the past that you have. Imagine the most complicated and painful relationship that you have. Or imagine the amazing relationships and things that you have and you want them to be protected. Do you not wish at times if someone can just help you take care of all these things? Give you the right ideas, show you the right path, make the right connections for you. If you look at successful people, you would see the importance of them being at the right place, at the right time, with the right people. Who makes that happen? Likewise, you would notice similar patterns behind those who have come out of really terrible and painful situations. As much as we would like to acknowledge all the pieces that led to the success, it is very important to not neglect the main cause that set up everything in place. We are talking about the one who is the arranger of all affairs, the one who brings about the causes. This is where we have an opportunity to demonstrate and grow our trust in the Lord of the heavens and the earth. From the favors of Allah is how He arranges our affairs and provides us with amazing opportunities. You're listening to this podcast, you're able to do so, having access to the internet, having the time and choice to listen to this podcast, and so on and so forth. Who gave you all these basic elements to be able to do what you're doing at the moment? So would you like us to tell you the simplest action that you can take that will give you the biggest boost? It is the act of asking Allah, which is known as a dua, calling out to Allah, asking Allah. So how does this work? Now, we are not denying the importance of actions, and all these things would come in the upcoming episodes as well. The point is that when you make dua, as a result of that dua, you get an acceleration, you get the right motivation, you get inspiration, you get ideas, you get the energy, you get the hope, and you become fearless because you have trust in Allah. You know that if I will put in my effort, Allah will facilitate me to achieve the results that I want. And if I don't get the results that I want, by your knowledge in Allah, what you will do is you will take the lessons and you will move on, and you will know that something better and bigger is to come your way. Now, AlQayyum, Rahimaullah, he explains the way that dua works in his book, The Disease and the Cure. And one of the examples that is quoted there is that when it comes to the trials and tests and difficult situations, here's an example of how dua interacts with it. So one thing could be that your dua, your asking of Allah, is so powerful that it repels the test, it repels the hardship, it repels the trial. Another scenario could be that your dua, your asking of Allah, is weak or is weaker than the trial, than the intensity of the trial, than the decree of Allah to have you tested with the trial. And that situation, it comes to you. But it can also happen that the intensity or the difficulty of the trial is reduced because of this coming of your dua that comes against the trial. So the point being that dua is an action that is definitely beneficial to you. It will either push away the obstacles completely or weaken the obstacle. Now, before we continue, let me ask you something. What do you think about someone who goes into the gym and really works out really hard, and then comes out and then eats fried chicken, pasta, fries, Coke, and cheesecake? What do you think about that person? What did he just do? Did he completely nullify the effects of his workout? If he did not do that, then definitely he reduced the effects of his workout. Moreover, with this type of diet, it will reduce or it will affect his energy levels, and he may not be able to work out, or he may not be able to sustain the habit of working out. Now, why am I mentioning this? There are certain things that makes your dua weak. And it is important that as you put in the effort to make dua, to ask Allah for assistance, to ask Allah for facilitation, it is important that we try to avoid all these factors or all these actions that weakens our dua. Now, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that Allah, the Almighty, is good and accepts only that which is good. And verily, Allah has commanded the believers to do that which He has commanded the messengers. So Allah the Almighty has said, O you messengers, eat of the good halal permissible food and perform righteous deeds. This is in Qur'an. And Allah the Almighty has said, O you who have believed, eat of lawful things that we have provided you. Then He sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned the case of a man who has journeyed far, as in a state of being a traveler, he's dusty. And he spreads out his hands to the sky and he says, O Lord, O Lord. While his food is haram, his drink is haram, his clothing is haram, and he has been nourished with haram. So how can his supplication be answered? So this is an example of someone who is in such a state of weakness and submission and in need, right? But the way that he has nourished himself is all based on things that Allah has prohibited. So this is showing us that how all these actions of disobedience is weakening the dua. Now, in another narration, Allah's Messenger tells us about something else. He says that the supplication of the servant is granted as long as he is not supplicating for a sin or for cutting the ties of relationship, the ties of kinship, or he does not become impatient. It was asked, Allah's Messenger, what does if he does not become impatient mean? He said that he should say like this, I supplicated, but I did not find it being responded. And then he becomes frustrated and abandons supplication. This is amazing, isn't it? Right? So somebody may be making dua to Allah, oh Allah, make this happen, find me a way, solve this problem for me, guide me what steps I should take, what should I do about this situation, really making all the right things, but gives up, right? It's like, you know what, it's not happening. So this is something that will prevent the dua from being accepted because he or she will then stop making dua. So that is something very common and it causes a lot of distress. Now think about a couple of things here. Number one, what is inside? What is truly inside a person who is not making dua? A, he either does not know who Allah is, or he's shy to make dua, in which case he does not know who Allah is, or he thinks that what he wants to achieve or what he wants to repel can be done without the help of Allah. He does not really and truly feel in need of Allah, right? So think about this. If you truly know that, hey, you know what, regardless of the effort that I make, if Allah does not want this to happen for me, it will not happen. If Allah wants me to prevent from something, I will be prevented, right? So in that case, a true smart person, he would not only make the right efforts, but he would also ask Allah to facilitate things for him, okay? And at the same time, he would understand that if something did not happen, or if something did not happen today or tomorrow, Allah has a greater wisdom. Allah has much more knowledge than what he or she has. Okay? So let's say if you're asking for something, you know, you want a job, or you want, you know, to get married, or you want your marriage to improve, you want your relationship to improve. Okay? You made dua, you make efforts. It did not happen today, right? And the day ended. So what just happened now? Right? Allah chose something to not happen for you today. If it was in your hands, you would probably make it happen, okay? But it's not, right? You did your best. Allah did not choose it to happen. Now imagine this. Allah knows more than you, okay? He made that choice for it not to happen for you today. So if you really and truly trust in Allah, and you know, okay, it doesn't happen today, maybe it will happen tomorrow. So you continue that tomorrow, right? And so on and so forth. Unless it's a scenario that, you know, it's some sort of a business or something that you realize that, hey, you know what, I've learned my lessons, and because it did not work out, I need to pivot, I need to change my strategy, I need to do something else. That's the different scenario, right? But in that case, even you will continue making dua, and you'll continue getting the blessings and benefiting from the right ideas. So what have we got so far in this series? We talked about identity, we talked about mindset, we talked about believing that things can change for better. We talked about that you have the ability to take actions, you have the ability to work hard. We talked about the amazing things that you've done as a child. Okay, we talked about the importance of having clear goals and reading them and clarifying it to you and making sure they are in front of you. We talked about having a plan of actions, and we talked about measuring and doing your audit, or holding yourself accountable on how you are using your time and your energy. From a spiritual angle, we have talked about accelerating your achievements and using Qur'an and using dua. Now, we believe that if you start applying these things in a structured way, you will see amazing results in your life. Now, you have to be consistent, you have to be very vigilant, you have to be very aware of what is happening. Okay, and we have gotten some amazing feedback, and we are thankful for everybody who reached out to us. At the same time, as you apply these things in your life and you have your own insights, we'd love to hear about them. If you have any questions about something not working for you, or you're not sure about how to apply certain things in your specific situation, we'd be happy to receive your email and your feedback, and we'll respond to it to the best of our ability.